Today we have a very special guest. We have Max, the co-founder of Ontora. What are you building?
So right now we're building interview agents that speak to all your employees.
How did you come up with this idea?
First of all, we kind of focused on building a cursor for consultants because one of our co-founders, Leon, he was working as a consultant before, conducting hundreds of interviews, and we noticed, why don't you just let AI do it?
Program you did in Berlin called Code. Who are the founders of Code? How long has it been around?
Yes, so Code has been around for around 8 years now.
Wow, and it's a full degreed university.
Full degree, internationally recognized. We managed to establish a partnership with Stanford here. So now every year, 20 Code students come over on the scholarship to study at Stanford and bring the spirit.
You met Leon at a YC event. You applied to YC.
Yes.
Is this the idea you applied to YC with?
Yes, so it was the first time we applied and also directly got in.
Who did you interview with? Who's your group partner?
So yeah, it's Tom Blomfield. And the moment we went into the interview, we thought we were super prepared.
Fondo, the all-in-one accounting platform for startups. Bookkeeping, taxes, and tax credits on autopilot. Okay, welcome back to The Start. I'm your host, David, the founder and CEO of Fondo.com. And today we have a very special guest. We have Max, the co-founder of Ontora.
Exactly.
Welcome to the show.
Super, thanks a lot.
So what are you building?
So right now we're building interview agents that speak to all your employees in order to find out what they're actually up to. And essentially this allows us to build a huge context base of a company and then kind of renovate them or finally run the AI transformation.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So today, I guess what is the stage of company that is interested in something like this today? And what is sort of the status quo?
So most companies have basically nothing documented. 80% of all the knowledge is inside of people's heads. And now the big part is giving AI agents this kind of knowledge access. So that's why we focus specifically on how to retrieve this information in a very structured and also kind of human sense. And that's why we run those kind of video calls with agents that talk to people in order to find out everything they do and then become their companions.
Oh, interesting. So this is sort of like everything that happens at work is not fully documented.
Right.
So agents cannot understand work unless you have this context. And so Ontora gives that layer of context across all the work at your company.
Exactly. So imagine like a mid-market company, especially if we look into the US or even Germany, where we are from. You have so many companies that literally have nothing documented. Maybe it's in a Confluence or a Notion if they're new. But essentially what you want to do is to then get this knowledge into a knowledge base, give it back to the agents, fill out this context, and then kind of build a company of the future and AI transform your company to become native, essentially.
Very cool. And so how did you come up with this idea?
Yeah. So first of all, we kind of focused on building a cursor for consultants because one of our co-founders, Leon, he was working as a consultant before and has done many of those kind of structured interviews before. So he spent most of his time for multiple months conducting hundreds of interviews. And we noticed, why don't you just let AI do it? And that's kind of also how David and I came into the idea. David now recently exited his company to another successful YC company. So that's really cool. But he was trying to cater lots of customers and try to fulfill all the requirements like they had, and I had to talk to them all the time. And me, I worked at Porsche before. We had to communicate with dozens of departments and was never really clear where the information is stored, like who I had to talk to, and then always had to align. So I spent most of my time just talking instead of building.
Wow, that's really interesting. So you mentioned you're from Germany. And so how did you and your co-founders meet, and how did you end up in San Francisco?
So David and I, we met at university. We both studied software engineering at a very new boutique university called Code University. It's kind of founded by the German unicorn creators and founders. So they thought, let's just put all of this thought material into a curriculum. And so we know each other for many years now. And Leon, actually, we met at the YC event in Paris, where his friends brought him there for a foreign study. And essentially through one initiative, we came together and then started working on this idea.
Yeah. And so this program you did in Berlin called Code.
Code, yeah.
So this was founded. Who are the founders of Code? How long has it been around?
Yes, so Code has been around for around 8 years now.
Wow. And it's a full degreed university.
Full degree, internationally recognized. Now, one cool thing actually stemmed out of there. We managed to establish a partnership with Stanford here So now every year, 20 code students come over on the scholarship to study at Stanford and bring the spirit, and vice versa, bring the Silicon Valley spirit back to Berlin.
And so you're one of those students, right?
So yeah, I was the very first one and managed to kind of help establish this partnership. But the best achievement out of that is that now we have this momentum at university, and even more startups end up here, just like us, ended up at YC. I think we're around the 7th or 8th startup now for only 500 students that ever studied at the university. So
that's really fascinating. So Code, what do you think about the curriculum or the program builds such great founders?
I think it is the project-based learning aspect. That means that every semester you would start a new project, try to grow it as far as you can get, and then it just makes sense to start a company once you get the first customers, once you get some traction. And of course, the investor ecosystem you have through the university also helps with that. And it's just basically putting lots of smart people into the same room, just like YC does, of course. But yeah, Code is essentially that.
Wow. And how many projects did you work on while you were at Code?
It was a lot, probably around 15 to maybe 20.
Wow. And these are all companies, essentially? Or they start as software projects, or how does that work?
So most start as software projects, kind of for learning. You work together with students from other programs as well, from design and product management. And then you try to, of course, get users onto your platform and so on. Or some, of course, that we participate in were in collaboration with bigger companies like Intel, Telecom, and Roche. And we even won prizes up to 50K in those competitions. So that was nice. And those also then count into the curriculum. And you can basically come to a professor and say, this is what I learned. Now I'm an expert in CI/CD, or exactly, that's kind of like how they assess you.
Incredible. So you and David met there.
Yeah.
You met Leon at a YC event. You applied to YC.
Yes.
Is this the idea you applied to YC with?
Yes. So it was the first time we applied and also directly got in. It was very lucky for us, of course, because all the YC applications are like very thorough. But so we only started off with the idea, got into YC, and it was the biggest boost and leap that we could imagine, actually. So yeah.
And so did you there's the mechanics of, being a startup from Germany and building a Silicon Valley startup. It's a little bit of it's a big difference,
it's
right?
It's a headache, actually.
Because did you incorporate in Germany? Because that's the craziest thing, right?
Yes,
it's all on paper and pen, right?
Yeah. So no, we actually didn't incorporate in Germany.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's probably better. We have lots of friends that did, because they ran their companies also before YC already. And many spent lots of time just doing this flip. That's what they call it, right? So YC requires you to have a US company.
Corp. Delaware C Corp.
Delaware C Corp. And so we went directly with that. And we also actually imagined a future for us in the US. So we'll go back home and come back here with a visa.
Awesome. Yeah, a friend of mine, Pierre, shout out Pierre from cal.com. He's a YC alum, and I remember him talking about the pain of legal and incorporations in Germany. That's great. Okay, so you're a Delaware C Corp, you're here, you do YC, and who did you interview with? Who's your group partner?
So yeah, it's Tom Blomfield.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, and the moment we went into the interview, we thought we were super prepared, but you can never be prepared for Tom.
Yes.
And it's really fun because in an extent, he has this German mentality of being very direct, of course, as a Brit. But so when we went into office hours with him and met him for the first time, we were surprised like how little bullshit there is. And we try to adopt this kind of sense and mentality that we also just become helpful, not friendly. It's not about being friendly, it's about being helpful and direct.
Yeah, that's great. So what would you say is your biggest learning so far through the YC program?
Probably that 996 is like vacation. No, it's really fun. We live together, and my biggest learning is that you have to get along with the people you work with.
Yes,
and we do that quite well. We are really good friends. We spend most of our times, of course, in our apartment doing our thing, but then also you have to have the same interests and the same goals in life, and we really align very well there. And are still a quite rounded team.
Incredible. So, all right, let's pull up ontaro.com here.
Yeah.
So AI agents that interview every employee and answer your most critical questions within hours. Are we building the right thing? What is the ROI of our R&D? Amazing launch video here. I saw you went viral recently for that. built for the questions you keep asking.
Right.
And so who should come to Ontaro and get started? Who's the best fit today to get started with Ontaro?
Yeah. So after talking to lots of different customers, we noticed that especially private equity firms are probably the ones that would profit the most of a service like Ontaro. What you would do is go into the portco companies and then try to figure out who's doing what, essentially. That's like the first but most tedious task of private equities getting into new companies.
Yes.
And you want to then enable also the employees that you had in those companies before to become AI native, after all.
Yep.
And they profit of it, the C-levels profit of it, and the company and their valuation as well.
Amazing. So check it out, ontora.com, ontora.com. And where can we follow the journey? Where can we find you online?
Yes, you can find us in our Entourage chat. That's one of the things. We have a cool group chat with all the supporters.
Amazing.
And the other one is, of course, on LinkedIn, on X, and on OIC.
Amazing. Well, congratulations on all the success so far, Max, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, David.
Fondo, the all-in-one accounting platform for startups. Bookkeeping, taxes, and tax credits on autopilot.